Hi, it's Cara and it is stinking hot here, but we're gonna film some videos. So today we're doing my February book haul, which I did kind of go, I don't think I went overboard in February. Some of these were gifts from publishers and Dymocks, because I love Dymocks, which I'll talk about later. Some of them I picked up secondhand. A lot of them were new releases I was really excited about. So yeah, let's get started. So I have two stacks, one on either side of me. One is what I would call big books. They're like trade paper size in Australia. I don't really know how trade versus mass market works elsewhere, because trade and paperback are two different things in Australia, because we don't tend to get hardcovers very often. So trade is like the equivalent of a hardcover in adult releases. Then you go down to a small paperback, but that's not really mass market. Mass market's different again. So I have some big ones, I have some smaller ones, but two stacks. So let's get started. We might start with the small ones actually. First off, we have Blood Witch by Susan Dennard. This is the third book in the Witchland series, kind of the fourth because there's a 2.5 that's like a must read, but it's a novella. So this is the third technically, and it follows Adwin, or as people like to have been calling lately, Badwin. The cat's like scratching on my door. And really it's a multiple POV book, and we follow a huge cast of characters, but Adwin's kind of the focus of this one, I guess. I have already read this and I'll be talking about it in my wrap up. I did buy this like straight away when it came out and I was really excited about it. I love this series. I'm really happy to have it. I'm really happy to have it to add to my collection. I'm a little bit upset that this one didn't come out in matching covers to the previous ones. The artwork's a kind of similar style, but the type font and things weren't the same. So I was happy to get to get the Australian paperback rather than the US hardback like I have for the first ones, because they didn't quite match anyway. Did I mention these are young adult fantasy? I said multiple POV. They're young adult fantasy set in a world where everyone has these witcheries or like talents, with a hint of magic, and our main characters in the first book are Safi and Azult, and Safi is a truth witch, meaning she can tell when people are lying, and Azult is a thread witch, so she can see the ties that bind people, and it's really good. Then I picked up A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kemmerer, which is a new retelling of Beauty and the Beast in an urban portal fantasy kind of setting. So we follow Harper, who has some kind of condition. I'm blanking. I know it. It's one of those like that you're born with. I think it's muscular dystrophy or she's got cerebral palsy. That's right. She's got CP. I'm pretty sure. And so she's the Beauty, and the Beast is cursed in this fantasy world, and she's just from the normal world, and she ends up there. I think the place is called Emberfall. So it's a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but obviously with a strong disability representation, which is what drew me to it, and a lot of people were saying it was really good. So I was really excited to pick this up. I haven't read it yet, but I'm very excited to. Then we have Spellslinger by Sebastian de Castell. This is the first book in the Spellslinger series, which is Sebastian de Castell's middle grade series, which is what I thought I'd start with for him. I've heard his books are all really good. This series and his adult series, I think the first one's The Trader's Blade. This has magic. Our main character's name is Kellen. He's like a con artist, but his magic disappears. I really like this book. This cover is great, like sprayed edges. It's really pretty. All of them have this like playing card look, which I really like. So I'm excited to give this series a go. Young adult fantasy, but more of like that kind of, reminds me a lot more adult fantasies than of YA fantasies. I also picked up The Descent of Monsters by Ji Yang, which is book 3 in the Tenserate saga. I read book 2 in February, which will be in my wrap up, so I picked this up because book 4 comes out in a couple of months and I wanted to be prepared for it. These are novellas, so it's pretty short and I'll be reading this pretty soon. And they all kind of follow their own little plot line, so I'm interested to see what happens in this one. It has a dragon of sorts or some kind of serpent on the cover. And then this one's The Descent of Monsters, and the next one's The Ascent to Godhood, so I'm interested to see how they tie together. On the topic of dragons, another dragon book of sorts. This is The Dragon Prophecy by Douglas A. Steer. This is book 4 in the Dragonology Chronicles. I picked this up because I own the first 3 books. This is the final book, and I own them all in this hardcover with these matching spines, and there's like a dragon that pieces together from this part. This is like the tail. But these have been like out of print for ages, or like not available in stores, especially not in this cover. And I'm currently reading the series. I'm reading book 2 in March. And I had a quick Google and I was looking to see if I could find this cover anywhere, and I found it on a secondhand website, so I picked it up straight away. I didn't want to wait for it because I didn't want to miss out on getting this gorgeous cover to finish off my set. So this is book 4 in the Dragonology Chronicles, and my plan is to finish these before the end of the year. Then we have a book I got sent, and I am like so happy about it. It arrived on my doorstep yesterday and I was over the moon. I did not realize I was being sent this. I'm a Dimmicks Book Lover Gold member. That's just because I buy a lot of books. And mostly when I buy books, I try and buy them from my local Dimmicks franchise, because obviously Dimmicks is a franchise, so it's like Australia's version of like Barnes & Noble, but they're franchised, not chain. So each store is owned by like an independent owner, so they're kind of like an indie bookseller while still having the benefits of a name. And my area doesn't really have any indie booksellers that sell new titles, just like indie used bookstores, and I do visit them regularly, but I support my local Dimmicks. And so I'm a gold member, which means I get like rewards and things. And one of those rewards is regular email offers for promo material, arcs, things. Until this month, I had never gotten a thing, and I don't like to request arcs for books I'm not interested in, so there are plenty I just ignore. But over the past month or so, there have been more that have been offered to me that are in the YA fantasy kind of category, and I put in some requests, and you hear nothing back from them. You put in your details that says like 75 advanced copies available, sign up to try and get one, and I always assume I'm definitely not going to get one, but this month I received 2 packages, and this was one of them. This is For Dead Queens by Astrid Schultz. It came with this beautiful little card that has little character pictures on it and a note from the author, because Astrid is Australian, which is amazing. This is so cute. I'm going to use it as my bookmark. So this comes out 4th of March, I have a feeling. I think it might be out already in the US, but it comes out the 4th of March in Australia. And I received it just yesterday. I'm so excited for this. This is like Love Oz YA, Australian YA fantasy following a city, country fantasy world called Quardara, so obviously quarter. There were 4 queens, and then there was a conspiracy where all 4 queens were murdered. And obviously we've got characters trying to solve what the problem is. I've heard a lot of good things about this. There's a lot of buzz around it at the moment, and I was so thankful to Dimmicks and to, is it Allen and Unwin? Yes, to Allen and Unwin for sending it to me. Thank you. It says 1 big lie, 2 forbidden romances, 3 days to catch a killer, and that sounds amazing. Thank you to Astrid, thank you to Dimmicks Book Lover Rewards Program, whatever you're called, and thank you to Allen and Unwin. Then a new release from February, we have Spectacle by Jodie Lynn Drock. I think that's how you pronounce her surname. I did look it up. I've blanked a little, but I think that's how you pronounce it. This is a historical fiction story set in Paris in the 1800s. And we follow Natalie, who writes the Daily Morgue column. If you know me, anything death related in a like science way is going to get me. I did a forensic science degree. And she has a vision, so there's some fantasy elements, of a young woman being murdered from the perspective of the murderer. So I think it has some Jack the Ripper kind of style things, but obviously set in Paris. I've heard some great things about this already coming out of the woodworks, and I follow Jodie on Twitter and she's amazing, so I really wanted to support her, so I picked up Spectacle. Another one on this TBR that I have already read, and that is Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. This is volume 1. It's a graphic novel. It was originally a webcomic that Alice is writing that I think is still ongoing. I'm not sure. And it follows Nick and Charlie from the Solitaire book. Nick and Charlie are obviously dating in that, and this kind of follows their romance from the start. Alice does all the illustrations herself. She's a artist-author combo, and this is just adorable. I flew through it in one night, obviously, because it's graphic, and I can't wait for volume 2. It's so cute. I bought a lot of really chunky fantasy this month, so the next section's a lot of that. We're now on the big books, if you didn't realise. This is The Ruin of Kings by Jen Lyons. This is the first in a new 5-book series, I think. It's supposed to be epic with lots of characters and lots of complex things going on. I've heard some early reviews that it's too complex. Other people are like, no, we love it. I want to see her eye fall. I really enjoyed Game of Thrones and things, which I think a lot of people do find a bit complex and convoluted with too many characters, which I guess there is too many characters, but I don't mind. So I am hopeful that I will really like this. I know Pierre from Pierre Ford really loves this, and she was like, it's complicated, but if you can get over that and refer to the glossary a lot, which there's like a 15-page glossary or something, you can really get a lot from this. So I'm definitely excited about that. I think I would definitely be referring to the appendix a lot, but hopefully I really enjoy this. This next book I purchased because it ended up on the BookTube SFF Awards shortlist. I originally was not going to buy it for a long way down the track, but I've suddenly made a goal to read all the books on the SFF Book Awards shortlist in order to vote in early June. So I picked up Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. This is the first in a duology, I think. And it's YA, but in Australia it's sold as adult. So that's a thing. It's just a thing. And that happens a lot in Australia. Things get put in different sections. Like Vicious and Vengeful by V. Schwab are young adult in Australia. For some reason, I brought it up with the booksellers and they were like, yeah, we know, whatever, can't help. This is giving me a lot of Matthew Riley feels because it has a lot of these diagrams of these spaceships. So I believe it's about this girl called Spencer, which I was finding hilarious when I was hearing all the American and British people reviewing this, because in Australia we don't pronounce our ERs very well. So Spencer, spelt the normal way, is Spencer, because we're Australian. We don't say Spencer because we're Australian. And this is Spencer with an A, so everyone was pronouncing it like Australians would pronounce Spencer, and it just made me very, very emotional. And her father was a pilot and she wants to be a pilot, but her father abandoned ship, and so she's trying to overcome the stigma of that. I've heard it's amazing. Everyone was raving about it at the end of last year, and I'm going to be reading it very soon in time for June. Then a book that was a total cover buy, and I really hope I don't regret it, but I've been hearing good things. And this is The Binding by Bridget Collins. This cover is gorgeous, and it has deckled edges. I love a good deckled edge, if it's soft, and this is very soft. I saw this cover and I was like, oh my god, I want it. And then I read the inside because I couldn't justify it on that alone. And it's about a guy who gets summoned to begin an apprenticeship as a bookbinder. And these books can capture memories and erase them, like hide them, store them away. And then he comes across a book with his own name on it. This is a standalone adult fantasy from what I know. Apparently it's pretty slow, which is fine, like there's nothing wrong with that. And very like atmospheric and beautiful, and no one saw the ending coming, so I'm really excited. Then we have Black Leopard Red Wolf by Marlon James. This is Marlon James, is it his first fantasy? Is that a thing? He's a Jamaican author. He wrote Brief History of 7 Killings, which won the main Booker a little while back. So he's well renowned, and this is the first in a new fantasy trilogy, the Dark Star trilogy, and we follow Tracker, who is a hunter, and he's sent to find this missing boy, and draws a lot from African mythology and history, and it looks so good. Everyone's been raving about this. I'm really excited to read this. It looks amazing. The next book I picked up on a Twitter deal from Jean at Happy Indulgence. She was getting rid of Iron Gold by Pierce Brown. I have books 1 and 2 in this series. This is book 4, and because it was going so cheap, I decided to pick it up at the time rather than waiting until I've bought and read book 3. So this is just going to sit on my shelf for a while. This is the Red Rising series. I read book 1 last year and really loved it. It's got some problems, but I really liked it. And I'm definitely keen to continue on with this series. So this was a like no worries buy. I was quite happy with it. The Red Rising series, if you didn't know, is like sci-fi. It kind of is similar to the Hunger Games but not, and kind of similar to other stuff but not, and you just gotta read it. Then another new release, I picked up Crown of Feathers by Nikki Powell-Preto. This is another author who I follow her on Twitter. And she's been talking a lot about Crown of Feathers, and it looks so good. This is a Phoenix Rider story. It's got a bit of a Mulan kind of, hey, I'm not a boy kind of story, and it just is so gorgeous, and it looks so good, and I am so ready for it. I hope to read this really soon. Our main character is Veronica, wants to be a Phoenix Rider, some Valkyrie stuff. It just looks really good. I think it has true stories mixed in, lots of maps, and yeah, I don't even care. I'm so excited for this. I'm so ready. And finally, the other gift I received from Dimmick's Rewards. I'll try and find the book plate with the note. I can't find it. Who publishes these? Who is the local distributor for these? I know this came from Databook. Databook was involved in this, and Dimmick's, and whoever the publishers are. Hachette Australia has sent me these. So, along with obviously Databook and Dimmick's, and I received a book, 2 books I already own, but I'm so happy to have them. We have a signed edition of Language of Thorns by Leopard, and it is signed, if you can see that, it's signed in gold pen. I don't know if it's really coming up. It's here. I don't know if that's coming up in the light. Oh, there you go. There it is. There's a little flash on it. It's on in gold pen on blue, so it's a bit hard to see on the camera. So the signed version of Language of Thorns, and then of course a hardback copy of King of Scars by Leopard. As I said, I already own King of Scars, but I went into the competition for this before I bought it and then forgot all about it. And really, I was here for this gorgeous gold detail on the on the naked book. Like, that's stunning. That's so pretty. I haven't read this yet. I'm a little bit scared, honestly, and I ran out of time. And I'm hoping to read it soon. I'll probably read the paperback and keep this one special. But it's so gorgeous. I'm so happy. Oh my god. They also sent me with that a King of Scars bookmark. Ooh, the lighting is awful here. That says, face your demons or feed them. And the little like bit pops out, so you could stick that on your book. And they also sent this Kruger Kingdom tote bag. Kruger Kingdom, no mourners, no funerals. It was such a surprise to get this package from Hachette. I was just so over the moon. I did not expect that at all. So thank you so much to Hachette, Data Book and Dymix. You guys are the best. So that is my huge book haul. Thank you for watching this video. Yeah, I know it's a long one and I know I bought a lot of books, though I didn't buy all of them, so that makes me feel a little bit better. I'm excited to read like all of these so much. I'm so excited. I don't know when I'll have time, but I'm going to try and make time because I'm so excited. Comment down below what books you picked up this month, and otherwise I'll see you soon with a new video. If the order is going up the way I think it's going to go up, my next video should be a bunch of reading vlogs this month because I am participating in some readathons. So look out for those. Anyway, oh, hang on. There was another book I forgot about. How could I forget my precious? Oh, it was because it was on my bedside table because I'm currently reading this. This is The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. It's a standalone adult fantasy and it is huge and it has dragons and I'm psyched. Like, currently reading this. Not very far in. I'm gonna keep working on it tonight. I couldn't take it to work today because it's so big that it doesn't fit in my book bag. Whoops. But I'm currently reading this. It's making me so happy. Like, all I've read is a chapter and I was so hooked already. So I'm so keen to keep reading this. Yeah, I also bought this. I did, yeah. So comment down, my next video will probably be a reading vlog for this. So those, including Priory of the Orange Tree, are all the books I bought in the month of February. Thanks so much for watching this video. I will see you soon with the next one. Bye.